All right, let's talk about the IEP meeting for difficult cases. And here I just say lead with care, and I mean that. You may not always lead IEP meetings, but I would suggest after probably your first or second year that if an advocate's involved, you might want to take the lead, or at least talk to your SAI teacher or your administrator or whoever typically leads your meetings about these issues. One, control your body language. You might feel nervous, you might feel angry, hurt, or embarrassed. The first way you're going to show that is through your voice. So even before we talk body language, let's talk about voice. Tone, volume, and cadence. Okay? Keep that tone right. Don't go for that sarcastic tone. Don't let the tonation of the voice rise, because when we get angry or afraid, we talk louder and higher. Okay? Keep total voice control, tone, volume, and cadence. The volume needs to stay appropriate to the room, and the cadence needs to stay nice and slow, calm. When we get angry or afraid, our cadence gets fast, our volume gets loud, and our tone gets high, and everybody in the room knows we're uncomfortable. Take a deep breath, maintain total voice control, and that will help to relax the body. Okay. Stay calm, always stay calm. Have an agenda, and fly the child. Okay, so when I learned how to fly a few years ago, the instructor would always remind me to fly the plane. If my door came open one time, and he's like, I'm fiddling with the door. In the meantime, the plane is in a bank. He's like, Jerry, you forgot to fly the plane. Fly the plane. If the radio stopped working, fly the plane. If the altimeter light comes on, fly the plane. If you fly into a cloud, you can't see where you're going, fly the plane. Fly the plane. Well, take that mentality to the IEP meeting and fly the child. If the advocate starts telling the SAI teacher what a crappy job she's doing, bring it back to the child. Well, let's talk about the exact services that Jill really needs in class, and let's talk about ways that we can provide those. Keep it on Jill. Keep it on Jill. Don't let the advocate derail by talking about the parent and how many hours they spend crying because, well, let's talk about how we can help Jill to be successful so the parent is happy. And let's talk about Jill. Let's talk about Jill. Fly the child. Okay. Let everyone know what the goal is for the IEP meeting, and that is to help the child. Right? That is to stay focused on the child. Make sure that everyone has the opportunity to be heard and that everyone knows they were heard and understood. They know that. Then move on. It's okay to say no at an IEP meeting. It's okay for the parent or the advocate to request something that is not right and you to simply say no. That would not be appropriate at this stage. As the school psychologist, you may have to offer your opinion. And you can say, in my opinion, I do not like that intervention. And here's why. And of course, we talked about the parking lot, a very useful tool for delaying those comments and agenda items or topics that the advocates want that will get you off task. Okay, make sure that you understand the parent's frustration, that you understand the advocate. Sometimes we presume what the advocate's going to say and we don't really understand it, and it's going to upset them. Target enthusiasm. So one of the things that we used to do at one of the districts I worked with is we would take, and when the parent would say something at a meeting when there was an advocate, the SAI teacher and I would be like, that's an amazing idea. I never thought about that. And then the advocate would say something and we'd be like, okay, got it. And our enthusiasm would always be toward the parent. Anytime the parent spoke, but before the end of the meeting, the parent was speaking. The advocate was actually being quiet. And the advocate had started the meeting off by saying, I will speak on behalf of the parent. So that's what I mean by weighting or weighted parent input. definitely act as if anything the parent says is way more important than anything anybody else says. As the IEP meeting progresses, these will be 2-3 hour long meetings. Periodically stop and offer a summary as to where we're at. And if you see things getting off track, stop and offer a summary. It's a perfect way to get everybody refocused on the IEP and keep it moving. Just like in this presentation, occasionally I've went down some rabbit holes. And luckily I've got the PowerPoint here in front of me to help provide a summary of where we're at right now. But you would do the same thing. The advocate gets really upset telling you the story of the time that they had this kid that with a similar situation and blah 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 blah, and you can say, well, let's summarize where we're at right now with this student. And so far we have agreed to this, and this, and we're currently working on this new goal. All right, that's where we are. Let's move forward. Stay concrete. Okay, so advocates are going to want to say things like, Johnny is not doing any work in class. Okay, that's a generalization unless it's absolutely true. So let's go to the teacher. Teacher, are you seeing any work from Johnny? Well, yes, he will get these 3. He'll usually do 3 of the 10 problems, and then he's just tired. He just stops. Okay, so Johnny's doing 3 of the 10 problems. See how much more concrete that is, and he's just not doing any work. Advocate might, you would. That's why you would never use the word lazy or unmotivated. Those are not concrete subjects. They're subjective. Avoid labels. Okay, avoid labeling the child as anything until the team agrees on the classification. So avoid generalizations. We talked about that. Assume a 2-hour meeting. Clear your calendar for the rest of the day. Soundbites. Okay. Teach your teachers to speak in short, to-the-point statements, to avoid those long run-on monologues. The long-winded statement is a common opening tactic by advocates, especially, and it's used by anybody who feels they have a weak case. If I can't support what I'm about to say or what I just said, I'm going to throw out a lot of BS. In hopes of convincing you. You know those teachers who speak in sentences. You know those teachers who speak in paragraphs. And you know those teachers who speak in entire novels. They just can't say something succinctly. Try to work with them a little bit, and you know what you're going to have to do is you're going to talk about sound bites with the teacher, and then you know the teachers I'm talking about, so you're going to maybe give that teacher a little nonverbal sign. Listen, I'm going to have to keep this meeting going. If you see me doing this, that means I need you to sort of wrap it up so that we can move on to something else. I'm not insulting you, and we really appreciate your opinion, but I've got I've got a couple strategies I got to work out. Whatever it takes, whatever nonverbal you want to use to keep the teacher's input short and succinct. The longer that input is, the greater the chance they're going to say something that the advocate's going to lock onto, and you're going to lose the meeting. You're going to lose control of it. I like making an opening and a closing statement. I like to open the meeting with our agenda, with our purpose, with something positive about the student, with our goal of what we want to accomplish, the IEP document we want to develop, the IEE that we want to review, and how much we're looking forward to learning. And then I want to close my IEP with a closing statement, thanking everybody for their input, for their time, for helping us to help Johnny make growth in his education, and just sort of to tie it together. It's totally up to you. And I don't do this with every IEP meeting, but I like it when there's an advocate or an attorney involved. And thank the advocate, thank the attorney, if for nothing else, for giving you a reason to step your game up one more time. And I don't mean that as an insult. We're all going to be so busy that we're going to do B+ psycho ed sometimes. But when you know there's an advocate or attorney, you're going to do an A++++ psycho ed. And you're going to learn a lot from that.